Hey everyone, before I get into my regular video, I figured I'd do something a little different. I decided to pick the top 5 stories in the furry fandom that I thought stood out to me. So I'm going to go right into it, and the first thing that was Furry going down back in May, and it is still down as of this recording. So I had said in the original video that the site was abruptly taken down because, well, it wasn't because of, it led to corruption of their database, which has been there for 19 years. The owners claimed that it was intended to recover from a freeze that was triggered by a security researcher's access. But the researcher that revealed himself had claimed to have been blocked by Furby after contacting them on Twitter and saying that he did not access the database, but someone using the vulnerability they found would be able to do so, which is disputed by the owners of the website. Yeah, like I said, as of right now, that site is still down, but there is an update. They have said as of November 3rd, they are working on a new system, and they have made their Discord server public. So if you ever want to discuss with them about the features, any feedback, there is a link. You can still go to furby.com, but it'll lead you to this brown webpage with just text on it. And it will give you a link to the Discord group if you have that app or program. So yeah, they have to rebuild the database because it is so old and outdated. Anyone who has been in computers knows this by now. 1999. That is like Windows 98 territory. I don't think XP had been released yet, but that's how bad that needed to be updated. So maybe it'll come back, but in the meantime, Dealer Stand is pretty much the primary auction site at this time. The next thing we're gonna go for number 2 from this year. Detective Pikachu becomes the first widely released video game adaptation that's actually good, according to Rotten Tomatoes, because they give the rating. They either give it a fresh rating or rotten rating, which in order to get a fresh rating, you have to get a 60% positive combined review. With 156 of 242 reviews, that was at least somewhat positive. It was enough to give it a 65, which is considered a fresh rating. So 65 is considered mixed to positive. So this is one of the maybe the only good video game movie. I wouldn't, so because it is like that, I wouldn't, well, I haven't seen it myself, so I cannot fairly say how I feel about this movie. I still have to see it myself. But I remember when it first came out, people were talking about how the Pokemon looked, and it was a hit and miss for me. Like, the design of Pikachu, I wasn't really a fan of when it came out, but I kind of warmed up to it. It actually looks okay. But when you get to other Pokemon like Mr. Mime, those look like, yeah, those are more into creepy territory. But there were actually some designs in the movie that actually did look really good. So I'd say if you're a Pokemon fan, I'd say give it a watch and see what you think. Let's see. And speaking of video game movies, number 3 is Sonic the Hedgehog. My God, was that first movie trailer horrendous. More specifically, Sonic's design. It was one of the worst designs I have ever seen. It was like, it was just, what it was, I can't even describe it. He had human teeth. It was like the eyes were too small. He didn't have the proper attire. I mean, he didn't even have gloves. I don't know how to describe this, guys. It was one of the worst designs I've ever seen. But luckily the director saw the criticism of it and said, okay, we failed on this front. We're going to hold off on releasing the movie. We're going to redesign Sonic and we'll try again. And good news is, he actually looks a lot better. He actually does look a lot more like Sonic. So I am glad that they did this. But it came at a cost. The studio that helped design this movie, they had shut down. So I really hate to see companies go out like this when they actually do something right. So they say, I think they said it was more like bigger companies were making it too competitive for them and they just couldn't keep up. I think that was what the explanation was. But I want to say at least we could get a decent movie, but at the same time, these are hard-working animators that have lost their jobs because their company just couldn't keep up. I really, this was not exactly what I wanted to happen. So, like I said, I mean, now I think I can say I can see the movie. So I think it said it is scheduled to be released on February 14th. So we'll see what happens then. This number 4, Bucktown Tiger appears on Jeopardy. And I was really excited seeing him play the game. And he actually was one of the best in the season. Not the best, not by a long shot, but one of the best. He managed to get a 10-game winning streak. And he finally got taken down, I think it was at number 11. But he did win quite a lot of money. And he did get invited back to play in the Tournament of Champions, which he got eliminated in the first round. But remember, in Tournament Champions, they're bringing all of the best players of the year. And of course, that included one particular man, James Holzhauer, who had a 32-game winning streak and almost beat Ken Jennings' record on winnings. He did have a new record on average amount of winnings per day, because he, like I said, he almost reached that mark, but in a much shorter time span. Because remember, Ken Jennings had a 72-game winning streak. This one only took him 32 games. But anyway, Bucktown Tiger, definitely loves seeing him play. I actually have the app on my phone right now, and I'm nowhere near as good as Bucktown. But the top story, without a doubt, has to be Dog Bomb. Back on April 5th, everyone found out that Tony Barrett, also known as Dog Bomb, had passed away after being diagnosed with ALS. But he was one that kept going no matter what was going on with him. He made it clear that he put out a tweet that he knew that he would be passing, but he said the sleeping dog would not lie. So he pretty much accepted what it was and just went along with it. And ever since, people have been recognizing him in his honor with fan-made works, and are now more following in his footsteps. So this was quite a tough time for the furry fandom. But life goes on, and stuff like this will occur. But that's pretty much what my top 5 furry stories of the year was. Let me know what you thought was the top stories of this year. But until then, I'm going to do my regular video, and go ahead and have a good new year, everybody.